The high-pitched, metallic whine of the freight train braking near Kashmir Gardens was the only sound louder than the man choking on his own blood. Sledge, built like a granite slab and wearing a perfectly tailored charcoal suit, didn't flinch at either. He hated inefficiency. He stared down at the nervous Deacon associate, Lil Key, whose face was rapidly becoming a useless landscape of swelling blues and purples. They were standing in a cold, cavernous, defunct metalworking shop off Lyons Avenue, the Fifth Ward humidity making the grind.
Damn it, hurry and subscribe to T Stories. Hurry the f*** up and subscribe!
To everything. Sledge knelt, his movements dangerously slow, and wiped a speck of blood from his shoe with a spotless white cloth. His voice was a low, gravelly hum, deadly calm, the kind of calm that preceded an avalanche. I don't care about the 20 grand you stole from Deacon's emergency stash, Lil Key, Sledge purred. I care about the old man being missing and the book being gone. The Houston Foundation isn't concerned with petty theft. The book is not cash. The book is protection. It's what keeps half the names in this city quiet. You tell me who the last piece of trash Deacon brought into his cutlass was, or I'm going to let the next train through run across your ankles. Lil Key tried to speak, his words gurgling. I told you. I didn't see her face, just that she was fine and black, dressed like she was going to a club. He picked her up near Pleasantville, man. Always liked him close to home. Sledge rose, towering over the shaking man. Fine. Black. Club clothes. That's every woman in a 50-block radius of the 3rd Ward at 3 a.m. Try harder. He signaled to his driver, a younger man named Ghost, who produced a heavy metal wrench. This is your last opportunity for dialogue, Key. Where are they heading? Where would an ambitious girl take something that valuable to fence it? Key's eyes darted desperately, landing on Sledge's impassive face. The only thing he ever talked about that was that valuable, man. He said if anything ever happened to him, they'd look for it at the Tinsley art warehouse downtown. He used it as a lockbox, a decoy. Sledge paused, a slow, dangerous smile spreading across his face. A decoy. See? We can talk when you put your mind to it. He nodded at Ghost, not toward Key, but toward the corner of the warehouse where a beat-up Ford Taurus was parked, Deacon's spare car. Ghost understood. The car was evidence, and in the 5th Ward, things disappeared easily. Meanwhile, Malik and Zia were holed up in a tiny, borrowed studio apartment above a defunct laundromat on Scott Street, right on the border of the 3rd Ward and Eastwood. They hadn't slept, running on adrenaline and the paranoia that every passing car was Sledge's crew. Zia was pacing, her energy manic. We need to call someone on this list, she insisted, running her hands through her hair. We need to drop a piece of the book on one of Deacon's clients, tell them we have the whole thing, and watch them sweat. Malik was sitting on the floor, the heavy leather journal open in his lap, pages covered in cryptic codes and names. He looked exhausted, the protective armor he usually wore cracking. That's exactly what Sledge wants us to do, Zia. We touch this book, we leave fingerprints all over the crime scene. We sit still. We let them think we're amateurs who just grabbed the cash and tossed the ledger. Sit still? The city's going to be crawling with goons like that Frankenstein who was guarding Deacon tonight. They are not going to rest until they have this back. She stopped pacing and knelt in front of him, her voice dropping into a seductive, urgent plea, a tactic she used when logic failed. We need a win, baby. Something to remind us why we did this. She reached for the journal, but Malik slapped it shut. The air between them crackled with built-up tension. The desperate stress of the murder, the shared secrets, and the unresolved emotional intimacy they could only afford in moments of pure terror. The win is being alive, Zia, Malik said, gripping the book so tightly his knuckles turned white. We killed the man who was threatening your life, protecting your sister, and protecting your future. That's the win. But the moment we weaponize this book, we stop being victims and we become terrorists. A terrorist with leverage, then, she argued, her chin lifted defiantly. We can't go back, Malik. Look at the names. Judges, CEOs, an assemblyman who wants to run for mayor. Deacon used these people to keep the neighborhood poor so he could keep his businesses rich. We don't burn this book. We burn the city, and we use the ashes to build our own kingdom. She leaned in, pulling his face toward hers, their mouths meeting in a frantic, desperate kiss, a taste of fear, vodka, and raw, unsentimental love. It was a momentary escape, a physical affirmation of their exclusive, terrible partnership, a controversial bond forged in violence. Malik pulled away, breathing heavily, but his eyes were now hard and focused. You're right. We can't sit still. But we don't use the names yet. We use the book to find Sledge. If he's Deacon's shadow, he knows all the bolt holes, the safe houses, and the money stash. We're going to give him a taste of his own game. He stood, pulling her up with him. We're going to take a trip downtown to the Tinsley. If Deacon thought his real secret needed a decoy, then we need to know what that decoy is. We are going to find out what Sledge is really looking for. The sun was officially up, painting the grim side of the Fifth Ward with a blinding, unavoidable glare. The game was on. They were stepping off the board and into the war zone.